It is so hard to watch WWE Raw and Smackdown. And for the past 3 months, I have been inconsistent in watching these two shows because they're so doggone boring. Okay. You have champions on this show they not defending the titles. And I'm sitting up here like, what's the point of putting these belts on these wrestlers? All they do is come out and talk. They don't even defend the titles on Raw or SmackDown. It's all about promos and them just talking trash. I'm like, why can't they defend the titles? Okay, you got people like Jade Cargill. Ever since she had that title, how many defenses have she had so far? I'll wait. Exactly. She doesn't do anything. She's not the only one. You got these other champions barely defending the titles. So I'm simply looking at this. I'm like, what is the point of watching Raw and SmackDown? You don't get any championship matches, and then the matches you getting that's championship is very mediocre. WWE wants you to spend so much money, then they want you to waste money on Netflix for a lackluster show that should have really stayed on the USA Network. You got Fox, who used to have SmackDown. They didn't want to re-sign SmackDown because of the low ratings under the power and the authority of Triple H, because he doesn't know how to book good storylines. He can't book these wrestlers. And it's not that he doesn't have the talent, he doesn't have the booking skills. You got the talent, but you don't have the right booking skills. You don't put them in the right position to become megastars. And his whole thing is that he doesn't want any wrestler to feel like they're bigger than WWE, because his old buddy, The Rock, became bigger than the WWE. I think in Triple H's mind, he doesn't want history to repeat itself, because you had The Rock, went to Hollywood, left wrestling for years, became bigger than the WWE. You had Brock Lesnar. He went to the NFL. That didn't work out. Then he went to the UFC, became UFC world champion, eventually came back to WWE, just like The Rock. I think Triple H doesn't want none of the wrestlers to feel like they're bigger than the product. And he is very inconsistent when it comes to pushing wrestlers. I remember back in the Attitude Era, Vince McMahon, if he was going to push you, he was going to push you all the way. When he decided to push Stone Cold Steve Austin, which he was the wrestler that the Attitude Era evolved around, he pushed him to the all-time degree, and it worked. When he was going to push The Rock, he pushed him. When The Rock was Rocky Maivia, the crowd booed him. So The Rock went to Vince McMahon, and they came up with the character The Rock. And they experimented with the character. Vince McMahon took a chance on it, and it was successful, and the rest was history, because The Rock turned into a heel bad guy. And oftentimes in wrestling, if a good guy is stale and he's not getting a good reaction from the crowd, the solution is to turn him into a heel, aka a bad guy character, so he won't be stale. But when it comes to Triple H, he cannot build characters. And like I mentioned before in one of my other videos, he has no excuse. He's been in the Attitude Era. He still got that mentality when he was wrestling in the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, and the PG Era. He has his favorites. And I always heard stories of Triple H when he was wrestling. If you was not his friend or his workout buddy, he was not going to put you over. He was not going to do it. And I feel that Triple H still has that mindset as a businessman in that corporate position that he has. I think CEO or whatever position he has. He hasn't really changed a bit. Because if he doesn't like a particular wrestler, he's not going to push them. If he does not believe in them, it does not matter if the crowd is behind him. He's not going to push them. Now, some people think that Triple H is racist towards black talent. Me personally, I don't think he's racist now. I know back then it was questionable because he was doing a lot of racist stuff, like he was making fun of Mark Henry, calling him a monkey, doing this, the way he walked, saying that Booker T had nappy hair, saying all kind of racist stuff to other people in the past. Now I don't think he's racist now. I just think he doesn't know how to utilize black talent. I think Shawn Michaels, if they was to trade positions, I think Shawn Michaels would do a better job because he seemed to love the black talent, especially in NXT. And it is so hard to watch SmackDown because when you look at the different segments, it's a lot of like wrestlers smiling. It's a lot of them, they friends. They don't act like they're foes. When you a wrestler, you part wrestler, part actor. Okay? If you're in the storyline with your opponent, I don't care if you guys are friends in real life. You're not supposed to let the general public or social media see you getting along. Okay, you're supposed to play into the storyline. Okay, you supposed to, as a wrestler, you supposed to convince me that this is real 100%. And I feel that today's wrestlers do not do that. If you got done whooping somebody in the ring, I shouldn't see you on social media hanging around that same person you had a match with in real life. I shouldn't see pictures of or videos of that. And that's what ruins wrestling. Social media ruins wrestling to a certain degree because you got spoilers. And then you have wrestlers who, like, one is supposed to be a baby face, and then you got one that's a heel in a storyline, and then they do the segments, do all the matches, and then in real life they getting along. I'm like, no, you are supposed to act like this is real across the board. I understand kayfabe is dead, but man, I mean, put some effort into it. Put your heart in it. Make it look convincing. You know, and the thing is, a lot of these wrestlers, especially the female wrestlers, they got the same personality. It's like outside of Becky Lynch, mostly none of the women wrestlers have that it factor when it comes to their characters in regards to cutting a good promo. And it's like they the same person. You know what I'm saying? And these championships, I don't understand why we can't get defenses. Like I said, we should be getting championship defenses, and Triple H need to do his part in making the product better. Because good God, these belts do not mean crap anymore. In the Attitude Era, there was a lot of defenses. The belts meant something. The belts was like larger than life. It was like getting gold from the heavens. That's how the belt meant in the wrestling industry during the Attitude Era, and even the Ruthless Aggression Era. Now it's just like paperweight. It doesn't mean anything. It has no value because the person holding it is not wrestling to defend it, and the person in the background, aka Triple H, is not doing anything to help the wrestler become a better character because he's lazy, and the fact that he shows favoritism, he does not know how to book a good show at all, which is the reason why that SmackDown and Raw are unwatchable in this era. That's why the ratings are going lower and lower because the show absolutely suck. NXT is at least watchable, but when I look at Raw and SmackDown, it should not be a chore to sit there and watch these shows. And it's been a chore. I don't even watch it consistently. I just see highlights on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And I get so sick and tired of just watching all this cheesy stuff. The entrance music need to improve with a lot of these wrestlers' entrances. Now Trick Williams have a good entrance. Joe Hendry has a good entrance. All the wrestlers should have good music when they come out. Now, Jacob Fatu, I love his music. You know what I'm saying? But every wrestler should have good music. That's how it wasn't in the Attitude Era. I know I mentioned the Attitude Era a lot, but why can't this era have attributes of the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era? Just like the entrance music, right? The entrance music need to improve. The entrance music is lame. It's very lame. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get you excited. The show format is the same. And I feel that the show format need to switch because back then the show would start on some episodes of somebody getting beat up in backstage or them showing what happened last week. But anytime the show format is the same and you got wrestlers, they just walking, shaking people's hands, smiling, and wearing flashy clothes, that does not get me excited. In fact, that will cause viewers to just change the channel. Or in Raw's case, if they're on Netflix, just look at another Netflix special. Because that's the reason why Raw and SmackDown have low ratings, because the shock value is not there. Kayfabe is dead. Triple H don't know what he's doing. The wrestlers are not like wrestling to defend the titles. The storylines don't make no sense. Everybody is happy and smiling. The women have the same personalities. There's no distinct characters anymore. It's too many factions that don't mean anything, like the Vision. You got Roman Reigns, he barely wrestles. Seth Rollins hurt. Okay, Cody Rhodes, I mean, he dropped the title, but eventually he's going to get it back. We don't want to see another Cody and Roman Reigns match. That storyline ran its course. The fact that the WWE still has to rely on veterans shows that they have made no progress, because people was expecting Chris Jericho to come back and he did not come back, and that led people to be disappointed, even though like Adam Pearce like teased Chris Jericho eventually coming. But anytime you got to rely on old veterans from the Attitude Era, and these stars of today don't have that same shock value, that just show that Triple H don't know what he's doing. And that is the reason why it's hard to even watch Raw and SmackDown, because it's just boring. It's lackluster. It's watered down. It's no creativity. It's the same thing week after week, and it's the same format. Even Stone Cold Steve Austin criticized the whole product, and it's like, what's the point of watching it? And that's why the ratings are going down. And then Triple H saying, if you don't like the WWE product, just F off. And that's what people are doing. They just going away. They not watching it because it sucks. I don't know what's going to have to happen. I think Triple H need to be removed from his position. They need to put Paul Heyman or try to get Shane McMahon or somebody creative to actually take over WWE, the storylines and the whole format of the show, and actually push the right talent. Because when you have Triple H who show favoritism, who do not know what he's doing, the WWE is going to continue to go downhill. And I don't want to see it, but it might happen. AEW could potentially become the next WCW. Potentially. You have TNA, which have a partnership with the WWE, but TNA is trying so hard to be like the WWE. They got old talent from the WWE. But my thing is, something has to be done for the wrestling product, SmackDown and Raw, to improve. Because I'm tired of looking at this stuff over and over again. So that's all I got to say about this topic. Make sure you guys subscribe for more videos. Till next time, peace.